I express my thanks to the residents of this area, officials, Congresspeople Kelly and Rush are here today. Seems to be a Lightfoot. We came here a few months ago, Rainbow Push did, and it was a mess. A national tragedy it was. Dumping garbage out in the streets, rats and rivers were running, all the houses were mildewed and mold everywhere. People suffocating from mold, and some residents died even before COVID took away 5 people's lives out here. They couldn't meet in this place, the tyrant for manager. There's a recreation area that the children couldn't play in it. They couldn't wash clothes on the weekend. The ownership was not involved because they were getting a 94% rating from HUD. That was a big factor. HUD was a culprit in it. HUD did not want public housing. The dream of public housing is model cities, correspond between the people and children, recreation and schools. The closed Carver High School, education desert. So it was a abandoned situation. We called Secretary Fudge. She put Cunningham and Burt on it, with those guys, Cunningham and Burt. We contacted ownership, capital houses in 20 markets around the country. And we want this to be a model of how it can happen in urban cities. Mr. Lightfoot, you've just been supreme in this. I want to express my thanks to you personally. Secretary Fudge has to catch a plane. We'll bring her on in a big, big way, and then Mayor Lightfoot. Secretary Fudge.
Let me thank Reverend Jackson, who first called me about Concordia, and we have started to see that there are Concordias all over the United States, unfortunately. But because of his advocacy, we have come so far with this project, with those who have taken over the ownership and those who have moved this project forward, and I thank each and every one. I had the opportunity to spend this morning with your governor, and I've been with your mayor all day today. We are all on the same page, committed to make sure that people can live decent, that we do everything we can to make sure that every person in this country does live with the kind of dignity and worth that they are due. So I am pleased to be here, and I've said to them, I know we have a lot of work to do at HUD. I've only been there a few months, but we are turning things around, and we're going to continue to do that work. I am not going to be able to stay with you long, but I do thank you all for being here, because I think it is important that you see not just the bad, but the good. A lot of work has been done here. Thanks to our team at HUD, under the direction of Mr. Cunningham, of course, the Reverend, the Mayor, everyone. So I appreciate all of the work that has been done. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that you will talk about the redemption of properties like this. We've got a long way to go. I work for the federal government. It is not an easy place to work. It's like turning an ocean liner, but we are turning it. So just give us a chance, and we'll make sure that we make it better. Thank you all so much. Oh, Robin Kelly. Oh, gosh. Robin Kelly and Bobby Rush, my former colleagues, who have been so helpful to me throughout this process. Thank you all for being here, too. Thank you. See you, honey. What you doing?
So I will also be brief so that we have others who I think should come to the podium and speak. But the Secretary really, I think, said everything that's important here. We have to be united together at all levels of government, as well as with outside stakeholders, to make sure that we're presenting and providing quality, safe, affordable housing. And it shouldn't be that people who live in a place like Concordia Place get the short end of the stick. That's unacceptable to everyone. And while I can't account for what happened before we got here, we are now here, we're now united. And I have to give thanks where thanks is due for Reverend Jackson and really his tireless advocacy on behalf of the residents of this place. It's critically important. We wouldn't be here without him raising his voice. And also the fact that he has shown these residents that they can be empowered, that they can use their voices to really advocate for themselves and making sure that they get a better quality of life. You are seeing all of us, truly the whole of government, at every level. State Representative Marcus Evans is with us as well. We've got our housing commissioner. We've got the HUD regional office involved. Obviously our federal electeds as well. But at the direction and leadership of Reverend Jackson, on behalf of the residents in this building, we can never let what happened here happen again. anywhere in our city. And we are all committed, regardless of who the funder is. We have a fundamental responsibility to make sure that the people that live in our city are living in circumstances that we want our family to live in. And anything short of that, we are missing the mark. And Secretary Fudge said this earlier today, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. We are in a moment where we have the opportunity, hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do good on behalf of our residents. We have a president, we have two chambers of the Congress that should be in line, but whether they are or not, at the local level, we're going to make sure that we take care of business to work tirelessly on behalf of our residents. We have a unique opportunity, and we've got to rise to that occasion, not for our own glory, but for creating a better life for these residents. We heard in there, people felt like they were disconnected from the rest of the city, felt like they didn't have a voice and weren't heard. That should never be a reality of anyone in the city. We've got more work to do, but we are all prepared and united to roll up our sleeves and make sure that we get it done. And I also just want to say, we are on the cusp of an important moment in our city, Reverend's birthday, 80 years old. And this man keeps creating a legacy for which we are all grateful and the beneficiaries of. So, Reverend, thank you so much for your continued leadership. Thank you.
Councilman Kelly, please. Q&A.
I know you keep hearing this, but I'll be brief. But it's really an honor to be here today, and thank you so much, Reverend Jackson, for everything. As everyone else has said, you put a light on this, and we got into action because of your leadership and your voice. It was an honor to have Secretary Fudge in the district. I served with Secretary Fudge for 8 years, and she said to the residents, it's a new day, and believe me, it will be a new day because Marsha doesn't play, and she will get things done. And I'm so proud of the residents that they came out and they advocated for themselves, and they're looking out for themselves because you have to speak up. That is just the bottom line, and that's what they did, and they see from their voices and the leadership of Reverend Jackson that things are getting done. Hopefully when we go back to DC, Congressman Rush and I will be voting on some resources to bring money back to the district. To our districts, to the city of Chicago. As you see, they are quite needed, and a lot of the money is around housing. We're trying to give HUD millions of dollars to make a difference in all of the areas and all of the neighborhoods that need it. So thank you so much. And Congressman Rush.
Thank you, my dear colleague, Congresswoman Kelly, to our great mayor of the city of Chicago, how can I describe Reverend Jackson? In some ways he's my father, in some ways he's my brother. So he's been, in some ways, in a real sense, he's been my savior. He saved my life some 50 years ago. But let me just say on this matter of Concordia, when I think about HUD, and I think about the history of HUD as it relates to my community, the black and brown people, HUD has not always been our friend. I mean, HUD has been, in some sense, federal housing policy has been the greatest enemy of poor and black people in the history of this country. Racists were able to use housing policies to deny black people their American dream, access to their American dream, through federal housing policies. Housing policies created redlining, undergirded Jim Crow, creating disparities, creating racism, housing policy. And so we've come a long way from the condemnation of HUD to a word that the Secretary used this very morning, to the redemption of HUD. And I know Marsha Fudge. I served under her when she was the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. I know from where she has come, and I know that there is not one thing, one problem that Marshall Fudge does not have the courage to tackle, the talent to solve, and she is such an inspirational leader at HUD. So Concordia is just the first bite of the apple. But there are many more bites to come. And I believe in Marshall Fudge, I believe in our mayor, and I certainly believe in the inspirational leadership of our leader, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson.
Well, HUD means so much to us. I took my first bath in the bathtub at age 13. We grew up on 412 University Region, South Carolina. Outdoor toilet, 6A Briar Street, 6A and 6B. Toilet for 2 families. Moved to Fieldcrest Village, public housing. Has a bathtub and hot and cold running water, soap, refrigerator. Public housing was a joy. We had the recreation center, skating rink for the first time, swimming pool for the first time. It was housing urban development. There are those who get to the White House who have a thumbs down on things public, let it run down. Now the redemption is on the way. I want to thank you again, President, for your response to us telling the story of HUD, of Concordia, making it happen. The residents who are here today, they were not always as happy. They have become cynical, Mayor. They believe it could happen. They get the response from City Hall, from HUD, nothing could happen.
Let me talk specifically about this place, and then I can give you a sense of kind of the overall visit. The Secretary is, I think, recognizing that it has to be a new day when it comes to HUD properties. And you asked the question, what's the city? We have been at the table from the very beginning when we became aware of the challenges that are here. As I said, as you know, this is not a city CHA property, this is a HUD property, but these are our residents. And we have a responsibility, regardless of what the jurisdictional lines might be, to make sure that we're doing everything possible to commit to these residents that they will live in a safe, clean, and that's the emphasis, safe, clean, affordable place.